Hello, everybody. My name's Chachi, and welcome back to In Our Humble Opinion. As I said, we were doing our assessment this time of the NFC. We did the AFC last time. Solo today. Tom, as I said in the previous video, is going to be. It's Thanksgiving. It's got a lot to do. So our videos are a little faster today too. I also want to keep it shorter because, we're talking about midseason. We kind of know who the contenders and the pretenders are. I'm just prerequisiting this because I just want you to know why we're doing this. Anyway, let's get started. The Eagles, of course, are number one seed. They won that tight game against the Chiefs. I think, yes, while their secondary is definitely a concern, I do think you got to say something about a team that wins close games. They're a little sloppy sometimes, though, which I don't like. The, the offense, Jalen Hurts hasn't been the same player, but he's still effective. I think people have kind of figured out how to hem him in a little bit. They're still very talented, though, on offense and can really run the football. And that Philly shove, brotherly shove, is really unstoppable. I think the Eagles are just a tough team, and they're going to make it hard on you to win because you're going to have to beat them. I will say that. You have to beat the Eagles because they will make you beat them. They're not going to give you the game. They always keep it close. You're going to have to beat them in the end. But I do think they have very big weaknesses. The NFC is definitely the conference where I just see teams have glaring weaknesses, except for the team we're going to talk about next. As you can see on the list, the 49ers. They looked really impressive yesterday. This is being recorded the day after Thanksgiving, 2 days after Thanksgiving, after the Black Friday game that the Dolphins played. So 49ers, they look really impressive. When they're healthy, Brock Purdy knows how to run the show. I will say if everything's not going well, they have to come back. He's not very good. He has shown he does not. He's still what he is, the seventh round pick, the last pick of the draft, Mr. Irrelevant. I feel like the 49ers have issues in that respect. You just got to hope that they roll. They're kind of a team that has to keep rolling. Once they get off track a little bit, they have trouble winning games. So far, that Chase Young trade looks amazing because the pass rush is back. Everyone's healthy. They're rolling. They did lose their safety, who was very good, but it seemed not to affect them last game. And their secondary is still a concern of mine because I don't trust their corners. I don't. They're not very good. Now their safety depth's kind of in question. Linebacking core, Fred Warner is amazing. Greenlaw doesn't get enough credit. Very good player. But 49ers, if you made me pick, they would be my team right now to take out of the NFC. But you never know. I think we're going to see Eagles 49ers if you made me pick right now. Lions. Okay, they're the third team we're going to discuss here, as you can see. The Lions. I don't know if you've seen them the last few weeks. They keep getting off to these slow starts, which you cannot do. Jared Goff's kind of showing you he is who he is. He's a good quarterback, but I don't think you can win a Super Bowl with him. He's kind of got his limitations. And for some reason yesterday in that Thanksgiving Day game, he was uncharacteristically turning the ball over, just trying to. I don't know what he was doing. He's running with the ball in one play. He just had a rough game. It was right now they got to clean that up. They're not going into this stretch run looking good. That's 2 games in a row. They should have lost both of them. They got lucky. They came back against the Bears. I mean, they're just playing bad football. You can't do that. They got to get it cleaned up. I love Dan Campbell. I love what they're doing, but you can see they're kind of not used to being the top dog, and they're showing it. They're having trouble keeping this up. Their defense is a big problem. As much as I want to blame the turnovers, that defense makes a lot of mistakes, out of position a lot of times. The Lions definitely are trending downward. They need to get better. They're having a lot of issues, but still think they're going to win the division. But they got to play better. The Saints, their defense is always very decent. Now they've been up and down this year. They've had some bad games, but it's their offense. They got to find a consistency. Taysom Hill seems to kind of calmed it down for them. I think they're a tough team. They'd be a tough out because their defense can show up and just make it hard on you. And most of the time they will. I feel like in playoff games they will. They got a lot of vets. I already said them before. I'm talking about Mario Davis, the Honey Badger, Lattimore, Debo. They have a lot of good players on that defense. They can really make it tough on you. As long as their offense is rolling, Derek Carr is coming back. Hopefully he can find some kind of rhythm because he's been off all year. But the Saints are legit. They're going to be a tough team. Cowboys are next, as you can see, and this is the team. I think, of course, it's the Cowboys that get all the hype. It's the media. I think they're playing well. I think they do what they have to do against bad teams. I think their defense is really good. I will exercise caution. They do this against bad teams. They played the Eagles, and they had that game. They flags everywhere. It was such a sloppy game. I think I alluded to that. That was not a fun watch. I don't care what anyone says. But the Cowboys had that game. and they couldn't do it. Like Dak, when you need him, does not step up. And against these good teams, he always seems to flounder in the end. I need to see that Dak that I've been seeing against these bad teams, against these good teams, these teams that can beat them. CeeDee Lamb's been amazing lately. Again, I need to see that in the big games. I need you to make the big catches in the big games because he has some big drops over his career, and we know that. I think CeeDee's amazing. I think he is going to be one of the better receivers in the next 5 years, like top 5, whatever, top 10. But I need to see this come to fruition. We always want to put the cart before the horse with this team. You got to show me because you played the Eagles and you had the game, you still lost. I got to see this. But I do think the Cowboys are a very good team, and if they play up to their standard that they can play at, I think they have a shot. But that never happens, and that's the issue I have with them. So we'll see. Vikings are next on this list. I think they're good. I like their defense. They're a solid team, but I like Josh Dobbs too, but there's a limitation there. He's a good player. I don't think he's a great player. I think your team's just a maybe make it to the playoffs and play a game, and probably not going to win it. But really, not much to say about the Vikings. They're a meh team. They're okay. I mean, I would be proud if I was a fan because they're just fighting hard. But they got a lot of things they got to find a quarterback this offseason. As much as I like Josh Dobbs, they got to figure out. But the Dobbs story is really fun. I mean, they lost that game the other day. It was a great comeback, but the Vikings, they're just an okay team. I mean, speaking of a team that is in not having, I'm a little scared for them because I think the Seahawks are going down right now. It's not looking good. Geno's okay. We talked about this. You love his career, how he learned and got better, but Geno's Geno. He's a decent quarterback, but you really do need a new one. The defense is kind of fast, but it's all over the place sometimes. I like their corners, but Seattle's just right now they're a team. Even if they make the playoffs, they're one and done for me. I don't see it. They're trending downward too. They get in these games against these good teams, and Geno's just not keeping up with some of these players. He can't keep up with. He makes too many mistakes. He is who he is. He's an okay quarterback, but he's not going to win you games. And when you start getting the score starts going up, and he has to make plays by himself, he just can't do it. So. Seahawks definitely trending downward. Now we're going to get to the teams that I'm going to have these 4 up, but we need to talk about the Packers because the slander, we're going to talk about this next week with Tom, more important. The slander of, because he can talk about this more than me, of Jordan Love is ridiculous. The guy played amazing on Thanksgiving. I have all these people talking about drafting a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers had the same numbers he had his rookie year. Wait. I know what everyone's going to do. Oh, well, back in his day, he didn't throw the ball as much. Stats were... Yes, but he also had veteran receivers. This man has 1- and 2-year receivers. And if you watch the games, they're dropping passes sometimes for him. They're not running the right routes. There's miscommunication because they're not veterans. He doesn't have the veteran leadership on this team that you need to help a young quarterback. And yet he's still succeeding at that rate. And he's on fire right now because they're finally gelling because they're young. You got to get a rapport with your receivers. Jalen Reed and him are really cooking. 11 and him are cooking. Offense looks really good. Now, to be fair, their defense, I agree with a lot of Packer fans and Tom. Joe Barry's inconsistent. I don't get what he calls sometimes. It's weird. You see people in coverage that shouldn't be in coverage with people. They're out of position. Bad miscommunication. Their defense is the death of them. I do think they can make the playoffs. I actually would put them in now because I don't see Seattle. And I think they're more of a threat than Seattle would be because that kid, he is confident. He's throwing that ball. Their running game is going to get better when if Aaron Jones comes back. I don't know if he is, but the running game looked a lot better today. If they consistently run the ball, if that defense can show up, which it can, but sometimes they have a pass rush, but their scheme's a little weird. But if the defense shows up, a little scary. Young team gets on a roll. They don't know they ain't supposed to be there. I think they could at least win a playoff game. And honestly, for what everyone thought they were going to do this year, they're very impressive. I'm impressed with Jordan Love. I think you got your guy. Just got to give him time. Like I said, give these guys time. We want to throw them in the gutter after 2 minutes, especially him. Like, I don't get it either. Why were you praying on this man's downfall? Everybody. And he could have a terrible game next game. He's still in his first year starting. Give him time. But the Packers really on the come up. The draft pick thing was ridiculous. The Rams, Sean McVay always plays hard. Really respect him. Honestly, though, coach is great. I'm sorry, plays hard. But the Rams, their team's devoid of talent, though. They have Stafford. I love the receivers. Puanuka's been amazing. Cooper Kupp just can't stay healthy this year. I don't really see him as a threat, though, to be honest with you. I really think the only team that you could see come up and knock one of these teams out is the Packers. And that's the problem with the NFC. It's not a lot of depth. The AFC, we talked about there. I don't know if I should even talk about these other teams because it's like Atlanta. We're going to do this quick because Atlanta, their quarterback position is crazy. Their coach, it's just Arthur Smith. I don't know what he's doing. He's inconsistent with getting the weapons, the ball. The defense makes mistakes in big parts of the game. They're just not ready yet. They're a young team. They need I think they need a quarterback. I think Heineke has helped, but they're still just inconsistent. Then in games, they don't make the plays on defense. They don't make the plays on offense. They're kind of just, I guess, too young right now. The Packers are really the only team I see has a shot to kick one of these other teams out because Seattle's kind of trending down while they're trending up. The rest of these teams, Buccaneers, I mean, what are we talking about? All these teams, we're done. That is really, in the NFC, those are your main teams that have a shot. I think the Packers have a shot to jump the Seahawks because they're just not playing well. And if you look at the Packers' schedule, it's very favorable right now. They have like one game in the next four that I think they could lose. They'll probably lose the Chiefs game. Besides that, I think that's three. They could win 3-1. While who knows what the Seahawks are dealing with right now? They just aren't playing well. I don't think they're a team you can pencil in against teams right now because they're just inconsistent. But that's my assessment of the NFC thus far, and thank you for watching. Our likes, as always, are appreciated. Subscribe for more content, and as always, roll tide.